So guys, welcome back to RBR and to the brand new 6-cylinder CLE 53, the one that we've all been waiting for. Truly a car that's holding all of our hopes and dreams after the boring 4-cylinder C63. Hopefully this is going to be our first sign of a renewed AMG. I can't wait to drive this. Let's get started straight away. So guys, here we go, straight into race mode. Nice, got a few pops and bangs. It feels familiar on the road. To me, a C63 driver. Feel the rear wheel steer. It's quick. Oh, this is exciting. This is exciting. It's got so many cars and expectations that it has to live up to. Even though it's an entry-level car, we have a lot of expectations of it. I like the steering feel. I like the handling already. The sound is so much more pleasurable than a 4-cylinder car. So it's a good start, a good first few hundred yards. Now we're going to stop the car for a moment. We're going to appreciate the design that's full-on 63 AMG for the first time in an entry-level car. Remind ourselves what sits under the skin and then come back out here and really see what the CLE 53 is like as a muscle AMG coupe. So guys, this is our lovely CLE 53, finished in grey, and it follows a long lineage of ultra desirable AMG coupes, namely from the 205 of the last generation C63, the 204 finishing with the insane Black Series, but then rivals in the modern day as well, like BMW's M4 and M2, using a similar technical basis under the skin with their 6 cylinders and their wide-bodied focus on dynamics. And plus, it's got to deal with the hatred and the cloud of abhorrence that follows the new 4-cylinder C63, wherever the damn thing goes. And that's not easy for any one car to do, even one as gorgeous looking as this one is. So let's have a thorough look at the CLE 53, both outside and inside, and really discover, is this a top dog AMG only in looks, or can it walk the walk as well? Let's find out with the new CLE 53. So guys, today's episode is sponsored by returning sponsor of RBR, the Ridge wallets. But now they've got a whole new product line dedicated to MagSafe and connecting your wallet with magnets directly to your phone. We're going to open up one of these. I've got a lovely carbon fiber one which matches the car we're looking at today. We've got carbon fiber, navy, a really nice matte olive and gunmetal. So I think we need to open this one, which is the carbon fiber one. And in here we go. This I will come back to. And here is your carbon fiber Ridge wallet, as you can see, with the MagSafe magnets here. On this one, we've got the cash strap. And now all you need to do is, that's it. And there you go. It just attaches to the back of my MagSafe ready iPhone. Now it's not just for iPhones. You can use this strengthening tray, which then can be attached to any phone, and you can then pop the MagSafe wallet straight onto this. And of course, the wallets are just as good as they always used to be. Up to 12 cards can go in here. You've got RFID blocking technology to keep your cards safe. And in case you don't want to buy a new one and you like your old one, all you need to do is change the outer plate, which you can with Ridge because you've got screws, and you can upgrade it to the MagSafe one, which is amazing. In addition to all of that, we have the new phone cases. Here's the carbon fiber design. Simple as that. That is attached now on here, and then alongside the matching carbon fiber wallet, that just clicks straight on, and you've got a matching look. Phone case quality is top notch as well. You got some really nice physical buttons here. So guys, that's the new Ridge MagSafe wallets and the iPhone covers. And of course, as an RBR viewer, you get a great discount as always. Just go to ridge.com/RBR or use the code RBR and you'll get 10% off. It's an amazing wallet series. You won't regret it. Huge thanks to Ridge for supporting RBR for so many years. Now back to the car. Guys, I'm ultra excited about this. Like I said, this is your new CLE 53, the first of a reinvigorated series of 53 cars that have ditched the lazy, let's just replace the grille approach of the previous generation, and instead we've got a fully unique, wide-bodied AMG with almost every panel changed, including a widened rear end, and the thing just looks absolutely insane. You compare it to the standard car, and you just cannot mistake the two of them for being similar. The AMG has truly gone all out on the exterior design, and I love it. It's wider on the front, it's wider on the rear. Let's have a look around it because it deserves some serious appreciation. Yes, my AMG friends, look at that body. This is the most important view those wide rear arches extended from the standard CLE, just like we had on the 205 C63, just like the C63 Black Series of 204 introduced. You've got these wonderful wide arches, unapologetic muscle from AMG, and it just looks fantastic to me. How can you not fall in love with that at first sight? And really, it just reminds me of those cars so much, and it's really well done because it means that they're not holding back. Certainly, at least in design, we'll find out whether performance has what it takes to match this look in a minute when we go out. But that's a really good start. And there's a lot of new AMG GT in this as well. You see the front wing here with that same design that we had in the AMG GT. Yes, it might be decorative, but come on guys, we've been wanting a bit more aggressive AMG design. Let's not moan when it's given to you on a platter. The wheels are really nice. I'll show you some different versions of these that you might prefer to the black ones in a second, so stick around, that's in a different specification. And even from the front, look, you can tell that width from the rear, which is really important, and the front is beautiful. Again, you've got a widened front end, completely unique bonnet, completely unique front bumper, nothing shared with the standard CLE other than the lights here, and it looks good. You've got the power domes. Better than the power domes is the little air outlet to let out heat from the engine, which looks great, and it gives this a lot of aggression. The front grille is pretty much standard for AMG, as are the air intakes below, but it's a good look. It's a wide beast. Altogether, you've got a wide front end, muscular bonnet, muscular shoulders, nice design on the side wing as well. Just like the last C63 Aero Pack, we've got the extended side sills, but these are finished in carbon fiber. Normal CLE doesn't have any side sills, so again, setting itself apart from the normal car and helping this look, again, that much wider. This car is totally de-chromed, so all the night packages that you could possibly want on it, that's reflected in the trim pieces. And I'll show you a car that has the chrome bits in a minute. Massive new Michelin Pilot Sport S5 tyres on the back, which are on all the best performance cars these days. And yeah, my favorite bit, which is the rear. At the very least in looks, it looks like a proper successor to the last C63. So I really like the way it looks, and I want to show you now what it looks like in a different specification. So guys, here's a totally different looking spec. Spectral Blue Metallic, which is the replacement for Brilliant Blue, with the chrome package instead. So where the last car we had everything blacked out, like the grille and the trim elements. In this, they're kind of more highlighted with the chrome, as you can see within the air intake here, and our lower A-wing at the bottom, and even the AMG grille here, with the nice Falterbach badge. There's also things like the lovely side trim here, finished in chrome along with the badging, and then you've got body coloured side skirt as opposed to the carbon one that we had in the other car. But more than any of that, I love the silver wheels, which they're so deep dished, and they make the wheels look even bigger and more exciting than the black ones, which are really nice. Such a shame that you can't configure these in the UK with the top dog version of the car. And then on the rear, you've got the big chrome strip around some nice round chrome pipes as well. So again, in this classier looking spec, still looking really aggressive. You can still tell that it's a nice wide bodied, take no prisoners AMG muscle car. So we absolutely love the design. The same design process that created the best C63s of the last generation. Wide bodies, absolutely fantastic. And remember, even the M4, which is a level above this, doesn't follow that design idiom because it hasn't got a widened rear end. So this is, you know, a stage above, which is nice. And when you look at the other 53s coming in now, like the E53, that has also followed with the same idea of having an E63 style widened front body, the exact same way that you would make an E63. So it's nice to see AMG taking the 53s very seriously, especially with regard to the good news that's under the bonnet. As you guys already know, we have got an updated inline-6 engine in here that produces now up to 450 brake horsepower in this version of the car with all the updates on the engine. It's the M256M engine by AMG. So this updated engine also has a new additional electric compressor which helps give you greater torque than before, 560 plus an overboost of 600 Newton meters for 12 seconds. And of course this is a mild hybrid. So we have the ISG within there sitting in the bell housing of the gearbox that gives 20 HP boost and 200 Newton meters when required. So altogether we have got 450 brake horsepower, 600 Newton meters of torque on overboost, and a 0 to 60 thanks to the 4MATIC of 4.2 seconds. Whether that's accurate or not, wait, because we are going to do a launch control very shortly with this car. So pretty impressive figures Do I wish it was a little bit more powerful? Of course I do. I'd love for it to have been 510 brake horsepower. We know the E53 is much more powerful thanks to the fact that it's a P2 hybrid system. Is it going to feel slow on the road, given the fact it's still as heavy as the old C63? We will find out today. That's what today is all about. Now, one important difference between this and our C63s of old is where they were all rear-wheel drive, these are all-wheel drive cars with 4MATIC Plus, so fully variable. You can still send all of the power to the rear, but it will also make them all year-round cars as well, which is useful. The other difference, these are not dual-clutch, multi-clutch gearboxes like the other top 63 AMGs. This is a torque converter gearbox, 9-speed, much like the M cars, so we have to see, is it going to be slower in shifting? Again, we will see that today. All of the rest of the hardware is all AMG. It's not hand-me-down Mercedes. Again, they're taking it seriously. We've got AMG speed-sensitive steering with 3 different stages of firmness. We've got rear axle steering of up to 2.5 degrees. The AMG suspension system is more up-to-date versus those old 63 AMGs with adaptive damping on there to make it better in terms of its breadth of ability, which is also great. And then we've got further use of like lightweight coils. We've got struts and braces to help make it more rigid, particularly that one that you see in the engine bay, which really helps. And then finally, you can get a package to make it even better, which the cars here today have, which is an AMG Dynamics package. You can note them by the red calipers and the microfiber steering wheels. This allows the car to have race mode and drift mode as well. And more crucially than that, gives you the active engine mounts, which help manage the greatest weight of the car. So a really important package. How much does that cost? I'm talking about price. Let's talk about price. The base version in the UK, and most territories are going to follow suit in the price, is £73,000 for the base version, okay? Now in the UK, it comes pretty well appointed for that amount, and there's not that many options. If you want the car that we have today, that's the Dynamic Plus package, you'll have to get the premium package, which is around about 76 grand, then add £7,500 for the Dynamic Plus, and you wind up, you know, £86,000 worth of non-V8, non-top dog AMG. At 86k, it's more expensive than the last C63 full-fat AMG with a V8. Obviously, all new cars have gone to stupid levels of price, and bear in mind that this is a fully loaded CLE 53 where you can't add a singular option. So it's, you know, it's the top spec basically. Now, before we go out and we see whether it's worth paying that kind of money for this car, which I'll try and answer for you today, we need to talk about the CLE 63, which must be coming because there are spy shots around. And there's a lot of confusion around this car. Is it going to be that same 4-cylinder hybrid setup that the C63 has and we all hate, which Mercedes and AMG know that we hate now? The 63 has been spotted tons of times with the square quad pipes and, very obviously, the charging flap within the rear bumper, signifying that this is 100% the 4-cylinder hybrid setup of that C63. But as of the last month or so, there's a new version of this car with the same pipes but no charging flap at all. And we know that the only engine setup by AMG that's powerful enough to be a 63 is indeed the V8. I don't know anything about this. I'm going to make my own prediction that whether it's in this generation or whether in a facelift, I think that this car will get the V8. That's my prediction. I'm not basing it off anything. Maybe it's a hope from an AMG lover. Let's take it as what it is and see if at some point in the future I'm right. Let's hope. So guys, the interior is of course base CLE with added AMG bits. So we got lots of carbon here hidden within our screen and then the ambient lighting surrounding it, which is quite nice. Of course, you've got the AMG welcome screens, as you always do, and the AMG full steering wheel. This is the Dynamic Package Plus one with the microfiber Dynamica. And of course, as always, we've got the lovely AMG drive select controllers, which really smash all of the rivals because they're so configurable. You can change all of the options on the left side. You can reorder your driving modes on the right side, and they're just great. Day or night, they're the safest way to change your driving modes. Rather than messing around over here, they're all at your fingertips. I love them, they're great. Then you have the AMG screens within the driver's zone, of course, up to date. Just like all of our other AMGs, you've got Super Sport, you've got Track Pace, which is a special one, which links to the Track Pace software in here. So none of this is unexpected for you guys. What's nice is today that we're sitting in a standard version of the interior with the standard seats, which I really wanted to see. We've sat in enough AMG bucket seats. I want to see the seats that will get delivered to most of you guys and see how they are in keeping us held together versus the more huggy track seat versions. Of course, you can have that in this car as well, but let's see what the standard ones are like today. The system inside the car is, again, totally up to date, and we've got a few AMG apps in here. The first one is Performance, which gives you vehicle information. For example, you can see how much your steering angle is, you can see the G-forces, acceleration and braking amounts. You've got the engine readout, which is fantastic. I love the way this animates. It looks like it's something out of RBR. Fantastically done, showing you the Newton meters and the kilowatts of power. And then my other favorite, which is the IWC watch. You guys know I'm a big fan of IWC. And this is one of those, you see I always take the watch with me as well. And this is one of those brand partnerships between AMG and IWC that is not superfluous and it's not done for the sake of it. The actual CEO of IWC, Chris, who you guys might have seen on social media, is a massive C63 fan. Like, as obsessed as I am, he is maybe more obsessed. So he might be watching this video actually with you guys because he wanted to see what this car is like. So it's one of those brand partnerships that I really like because the people behind it are obsessed with the cars as well. So it's cool that they maintain that. It's such a shame that we haven't got the analog IWC clock like the 205 had, which was so great, but at least we still have the digital one to match, you know, the AMG edition watch that you can still get today. Of course, you've got the TrackBase app in here as well, which has got your drag racing, your telemetry, which all saves to your user. And then the UX itself is up to date with new E-Class, etc. You've got your usual ambient lighting stuff that other YouTube channels will spend half an hour talking about. We are not going to do that. It's just lighting. So guys, the other thing about this car is, what is it going to sound like versus particularly the 4-cylinders that you can get these days and the V8s of the past. Let's put the car into race mode because this is the Dynamic Plus car and see what it sounds like on revs. So it's okay. I mean, it's nothing as horrible as the 4-cylinder cars. It's not as exciting as other 6-cylinders you might hear about. I do wonder whether AMG are a little bit afraid of regulations and EU noise regs and all that kind of stuff. I'm more interested to see how does this sound like when you're driving it. So let's get to the main part. Let's drive this thing. There's so many things it has to live up to, so many hopes it's carrying on its wide muscular shoulders. Let's see if the CLE can live up to it. So guys, we're back on the road. I'm going to put the car in comfort with the exhaust on powerful. Listen to that rumble. Can you hear it? And that's just, you know, 60 kilometers an hour, pushing the engine lightly. It's not anywhere near as loud as what we used to have in the C63 V8, but it's a really pleasurable audio note. Like, it's hitting the right notes. It's the right type of music that we're looking for, right? Very much unlike the 4-cylinder. That was nothing like that in terms of the music it was playing. This, even in comfort mode, is the right type of sound I'm looking for. Because I don't want to be driving, and C63 owners don't drive their cars like lunatics all the time to get the nice sound. They only have to drive slow and they get a nice burble and a rumble. And it's nice to see that with the 53, we've got a bit of that coming through. Certainly a lot more than we've had with these other 4-cylinder tries that AMG have made. So that's good, but to really see it, let's put it into race mode, which our AMG Dynamic Plus car does have. And I like the sounds. Getting some nice pops and bangs coming out the rear. They're definitely there and they make themselves heard, which is nice. Certainly more than the 4-cylinders. So that's a nice thing because we really crave that, particularly in these sportier modes of race and Sport Plus. I reckon a little exhaust mod on this and you would have a very exciting car to play around with. Because it's just a matter of volume. Like I said, the note itself that's playing is really nice. And again, it might be a region thing. You might find in the USA, Australia, Middle East that this car is going to sound a lot more exciting than it will in Europe. The engine is so responsive. It doesn't feel at all like the previous 6-cylinder, which was also a really responsive engine, but this just feels a bit angrier. Definitely more powerful from the get-go. I wonder if that's that additional compressor that's giving us the torque boost, because of course we had the ISG before already, and of course this is a heavily updated engine versus the last one, as you guys saw. Wow, this thing really does turn keenly. Some really twisty roads here, and it's just eating up these corners. Rear wheel steer doing a lot of the work, but the steering feel is nice as well. It's that recognizable AMG speed sensitive steering. Not quite as communicative, I think, as their full fat cars, but maybe I'm just getting used to it at the moment, because it is better than certainly the M cars of late. So initial engine response, really nice. I like the feel of the steering. Now, we need to do a little launch control to understand just how quick this is. We've got the 4MATIC, which obviously massive help in a drag race situation, because the old C63 was actually quite rubbish at doing off the line speeds. Let's see what this does in race mode. Sounds good. So there we go, guys. We've got a 0 to 60 speed of 3.8 seconds, which is on par with the previous C63, which it would never end up getting because it would never get traction. And really, that's the only run that I've had time to do, so that's damn impressive. Like I said, the car feels quick all the time. It doesn't feel slow at all. Like, it feels, I know it's only 450 horsepower with a boost, but it feels easily above 500, and I think a lot of that is thanks to the 4MATIC. Now, in terms of speed, what's nice is the 4MATIC has insane amounts of grip. This is the full 4MATIC system you'd find in a top dog AMG like an E63. It's not some simpler version, it is 4MATIC Plus with the drift mode in the Dynamic Plus package. So you've got a clever electronic diff in the back that is managing the power, and it makes the whole thing feel rear wheel drive most of the time, which is great. That's what we want. We're in the top mode of race, and the car feels commensurately quick. I think the 4MATIC helps a car of this size, because it is a bigger car. We're talking like E-Class coupe size now. And I think it's a slight bit heavier than the old C63 was as well. So now that more modern suspension is going to have to carry the weight, literally a little bit of that. But it's doing a good job of it. That with the rear wheel steer, really controlling the body quite well, keeping the car quite flat. The steering response is nice. Getting some good confidence actually driving this faster. Even as if it seems I might just go straight off a cliff here, given the scenery. Front end is super keen, steering is nice and responsive. It feels like a proper full fat AMG. It just hasn't got that typical V8 sound that I would expect to come from the way that the rest of the car is feeling, because it really reminds me of my C63. And I totally mean that as a compliment. It's so reminiscent of that in the way that it handles itself on the road. It does feel heavy though, and I do wonder whether a more interesting suspension system like AMG's semi-active one could come in a higher version of this car, hopefully with a V8. That would be great. And then some of where this starts to feel a bit cumbersome when you start to drive really fast. So that system from the AMG GT would definitely go a long way to resolving that issue. The 4MATIC is just also going to have a massive advantage in terms of making this a more daily car, because the C63, they're so fun in the wet, that's not the best scenario for like when you're trying to pitch this as a daily car to, you know, the rest of your friends and family. Whereas this, you know, it can do that whole job throughout the winter, put some good winter tyres on it, and the 4MATIC Plus particularly, the system is going to be very good. And it will still be really fun because it's so rear biased. But it's undoubtedly a quiver in the hat of this that the old C63 didn't have. Would I prefer a pure rear wheel drive version? I always do. Saves a bit of weight, feels a bit more pure, you have to respect it, but this is the world we live in and they sell more of these, so that's just the way it is. I like the handling, you know, it really reminds me of C63, I think. That's where I'm going to leave it. Could it be better? Yes, it could. We know how it could. We've seen GT, we've seen AMG do this. If they want to, they will, and I hope they do it in a proper 63. Gearbox is an interesting one. No, it's not as snappy as the wet clutch, all right? The GT one is just better. It does its best impression, but this is another area that could easily be improved in A63, where, like, you know, I'm shifting down and it does it a little while after I've pressed it, I'm shifting up, and sometimes it's instant, but sometimes the downshifts just come a little bit too late. So it's definitely geared more towards comfort, more towards a daily car, which is understandable. But it's not deterring me from using it. It just reminds me of like my M2, which similar, you know, it's torque converter problems. Those of you who have torque converter gearboxes in sporty cars will totally understand this. Now, comparisons to those rivals, Old E53, forget about it. This is like on a totally different level. It feels like a proper AMG. Like I said, it reminds me of the C63 in many ways. So that's great, we can cut that one out. New C63 4-cylinder, forget about it. I mean, yes, that's a very dynamic car, but it's so boring and it's so expensive. This, we're getting some good emotion out of it, you know, which is really important. We've got, you know, maybe we want to do some tunnel runs. Something is possible here, even with an exhaust. So that car is just totally out the window. The speed never really matters. Yes, that car is mega quick, but this feels just as quick on the road, which is great. Versus the old V8 C63, if you really want a pure AMG, that's the one you're going to go for. Let's be honest. This is more daily, it's got 4MATIC, etc. The looks are incredible. I think it's the best looking, it's better looking than the C63s. But yeah, generally, if you want a pure AMG, the old C63 is the way to go. And versus the C43 of the current gen, this is just better. It looks better, it drives better, the engine's more interesting, it's got more soul. Sounds good. When it wants to, it does. And that's half the battle with an AMG, isn't it? As for the M cars, they're definitely more dynamic. This is more of a daily car, more of a luxurious car, and it feels that way. You know, you put the car into comfort with the exhaust on, which I've not enjoyed in any recent AMG, particularly the 4-cylinders. And you get a nice burble, a nice deep rumble coming from it. It sounds different enough to the CLE 450 with its fake speaker sound as well. It sounds more AMG, as it should. But yeah, those cars, the M cars, so much more dynamic. If you want a proper sports car, you go for the M2 or you go for the M4. I won't hesitate in saying that at all to you. This is an entry-level AMG. Despite how far they've taken the looks to give us value for money, it is still an entry-level car. So it can't quite compete with the full-fat M cars. But in my opinion, much more exciting than an M440i, which is really the rival to this. So yeah, I think head and shoulders above that. What's my verdict as your Mr. AMG? I would say as a car in the lineup, outside of the GT, this is the only other car that excites me. All right, I like the 35 series, I love the GT and the SL, and I love this. The CLE 53 ticks a lot of boxes. It's got some nice emotion, proper 6-cylinder engine, really good handling, the best looks of I think any AMG at the moment. I think maybe even the GT. I just think it's so good looking. I think I would seriously consider this car as a daily. I don't think, despite my reservations coming in, that it needs more power. It's absolutely enough to enjoy a fast car, particularly thanks to the 4MATIC. I mean, look at that launch control. Come on, it's quick. So yeah, big thumbs up from me. I think the only thing I would do as an owner is try to augment that exhaust sound somehow. And I'm sure we're all clever enough to find ways to do that. So yeah, CLE 53, definitely, it's brought some hope. It's brought some real hope to an AMG fan base that needs it. This and the GT together, they're the cars we needed them to be at the time we needed them. I hope AMG build upon this. I want to see a 63. That really makes us excited as well. Until then, this is a great 2-door AMG muscle coupe with a really nice 6-cylinder engine. Guys, if you've enjoyed this episode of RBR, as always, please do like and subscribe. It's massively appreciated by me. I've got a bit more time with this baby and I'm going to test it as if I was going to buy it. See you guys later.